everyone, it's Deja from knitandcrocheteverafter.com. Today is the Rad Mini Bobble Stitch pattern, and this is not really a bobble, but it kind of is. It looks like bobbles, but we're not actually making any bobbles. You'll see how we create this kind of texture that's popping up but isn't a bobble when we start doing it. Download the pattern below. I will talk more about this stuff after we do the stitch pattern, but right now we'll get started. Okay, so for the Rad Mini Bobbles, our multiple is going to be 2 plus 2. So multiple of 2 and add 2 at the end for our end stitches. So I did a 4 stitch repeat, so 4 times 2 is 8, and then I added 2 for a total of 10 stitches. This pattern is really easy, even though it's a 4-row repeat. You can tell what row you're on once you get going, so it's a good TV pattern. So for the very first row, this is the right side, and I did a couple border rows. You can do that as well, but when you get started, because the bobbles are created by knit 2 together, so if you don't like doing knit 2 together on a foundation row, do a couple border rows, because otherwise it's gonna be a pain. But you'll see how much a pain it is right now. So I'm gonna knit 1, and then I'm gonna knit 2 together. I just hate foundation rows in general, so doing a decrease on 1 is really bad because it's so hard to get into them. So, but these Addy lace turbos are awesome. So I'm through both. Very difficult. I'm coming back. Slide that off. And that was the beginning of our repeat, and we're gonna do that all the way across. Ew. So it's non-stop knit 2 together. So again, knit 2 together, off. Try to keep a little bit of slack. Don't make them too tight, because it's just easier that way. There we go. And 1 more. And then that very last stitch we're going to knit. All right. Whew. Got that row done. Now we're down to 6 stitches, but we're going to bring it back up on the next row, so don't worry. So row 2, here we go. For row 2, I like this row the best because it's really fast. So we're going to knit 1, knit that edge stitch, and then we're going to start our repeat. So we're going to knit 1, and then we're going to do an increase called an open bar increase, and I just like this one because it's really fast. So this bar that's between the 2 stitches, we're just going to go under it, grab our yarn, and knit it, and that's it. So we're going to keep doing that all the way across. So we're going to knit 1, and if you're kind of spread out like this, you can easily see that bar to get under, and it works up really fast. So knit 1, increase, knit 1, all the way to this very last stitch. You're doing the increase. Pull that through, and then that very last stitch, we're going to knit. Nice and easy. So you should have 10 stitches again. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Make sure you do, because if you don't, you missed one of those increases. So row 3 and row 4, real simple. We are going to be knitting the whole 3rd row, and one way to make sure that, if you're paying attention to what side you should be on, the knit is going to be on the side that looks like all pearls. So if you're just in the middle of TV watching, if you have 6 stitches, you're just finished row 1. If you're not, have kind of a stockinette going, then you know that you're ready to start your next knit 2 together. So this whole row is knitting, and then row 4 is purling. So we're gonna purl these guys. And then our little bobbles are going to start over because we have a 4-row repeat. So I will do those first 2 rows one more time just so you can see them kind of further in the project. So row 1, remember we're going to knit that very first stitch and then knit 2 together. So much easier when it's not on a foundation row. This pattern works up really fast because of how like you're decreasing an entire row, and the increasing goes really fast because you're not doing any weird increasing. It's almost, you know, as easy as a yarn over almost. That last stitch, we're going to knit it. Then we're going to turn. Just remember that you're not starting the increase until the second knit. So this first knit is a regular knit. Then you start your pattern repeat. So knit 1, increase, knit 1, increase, and I just kind of stick my finger in there to find it easier. So easy to do. I love that increase. Then that very last stitch, I'm a little caught up here. That very last stitch is going to be a knit. So you can see we get that kind of bobble knot almost. I should call it a bobble knot. It's kind of a better name. Let me show you my finished one again. No, that's not it. Where did it go? Here it is. So as you go, you get the little bobbles, and all that is those knit 2 togethers. So you see that I did, and then you have that kind of 2-row of stockinette. So you have bobbles, stockinette, bobble, stockinette, so you can kind of keep track of what row you're on. It's not really rolly, so you don't really need to put a border if you don't want. It doesn't really curl up at all. Totally up to you. It's just if you don't want to work those knit 2s at the beginning, it's a lot easier to do a couple rows of that. The back side definitely looks like a backside. It's very pearl bumpy, but it's kind of cool. It's kind of like a pearl lace almost, so it's not horrible. I wouldn't mind doing a scarf where it's both sides showing. It's not, you know, totally ugly. Whatever you like. It would be neat for color changing. So if you do 4 rows for each color, that would be a really pretty effect, as well as self-striping. I think this would work with just about any yarn. It's because it's so spread out and textured, so even speckled, because it has those holes, I think you can get away with just about any kind of yarn with this. But that is the Rad Mini Bobbles, and I'm Deja with Knit and Crochet Ever After, and thank you for watching.